Alright, so in response to the negatives claim that that California's lack of parental notification laws has decreased the amount of the amount of teen pregnancy. It's not that abortion is necessarily bad or anything. It's just in general, most teens lack the expertise or physical ability to not only pay for an abortion, to deal with the major complications after they've received it, whether that means emotionally or physically. It's just these kids are minors and often don't have the money to perform the abortion itself, or the major complications that can result from it. Parents are also able to provide additional information about minors' medical history and information, whether that means a history of blood clotting, history of any sort of intestinal or digestional issues, or issues with the reproductive system, or a history of depression or any other psychological illness. Opponents of parental notification may feel that minors do not notify their parents because of adverse domestic situations at home, like somebody who may be getting beaten, or fear of getting ridiculed by their parents. In situations like this, teens can use a judiciary bypass to go around their parents and not have to notify them. But in these adverse situations, because in most situations it would be better for them to notify their parents, as like I said before, most teens, whether or not they tell their parents, they just lack the the ability to perform after having such a procedure done to them. And according to in many cases, according to Anna Lee Hassinger at the American Journal of Public Health, their team explored factors that influence whether minors involved included or excluded parents in seeking abortion. In summer 2010, we concluded that with interviews with 30 minors who sought abortion in the state that did not require parental involvement at the time, interviews were coded, analyzed, and followed the principles of the grounded theory method. The majority of minors involved a parent. Commonly cited factors were close supportive parent relationships, a sense that disclosure was inevitable, a need for practical assistance, and compelled disclosure. Motivations for not wanting to involve a parent, although some minors ultimately did, included preservation of parent-daughter relationship, fear of detachment, and preservation of autonomy. Minors were motivated to involve their parents and other adults who were engaged in their lives at this time of the pregnancy, particularly those who were supportive in obtaining an abortion. Motivations to exclude a parent were often based on particular family circumstances or experiences that suggest involvement would not be helpful, might be harmful, or might restrict the minor's ability to obtain an abortion. So like I said previously, many of these girls feel that it's inevitable anyway, because if you get the abortion, you still come home, right? It's not like you're just going to disappear. You can't start a new life. They have nothing, essentially. On to the next topic. Many feel that in states where these laws were put out, that risky teen sex was deterred. According to Dr. Coleman, D. and Joyce at the Journal of Health Economics, several studies suggested that parental notification laws curb risky sexual behavior because teens realized that they would be compelled to discuss a subsequent pregnancy with a parent. We showed that prior evidence based on gonorrhea rates overlooked the frequent underreporting gonorrhea by race and ethnicity, and present new evidence that affects the parental information laws using more current data on the prevalence of gonorrhea and data that are novel to this literature, including chlamydia rates and data disaggregated by year of age. I understand that STDs aren't necessarily correlated to pregnancy and abortion. However, these laws just they kind of discourage premarital sex, or not premarital, but like unprotected sex in general, you know, which is for like, you know, the teen population, that's just better. And in states like Minnesota, the institution of parental notification laws in Minnesota were examined. These data suggest that the parental notification facilitated pregnancy avoidance in 15 to 17-year-old Minnesota women. Abortion rates declined unexpectedly, while birth rates continue to decline in accordance with long-term trends. So, in general, these laws, although they might not directly affect abortion, it just always directly affects the prevalence of teens having sex or unprotected, unsafe sex, which, you know, leads to many complications in general. So, you know, that's just an added positive. Like I said before, teens who get abortions are 3 times more likely to develop psychological problems and are also 3 times more likely to be admitted into mental health hospitals than teens in general. So, therefore, you know, it's just a process that it seems a parent should, you know, go with their kid through, because, like I said, there's, you know, no turning, like, just because you can get the abortion without your parents knowing, you know, there's a whole life after that. You know, you have to come home eventually, right? It's basically inevitable. So I think that by instituting these laws that force, you know, parents to notify their children, or children to notify their parents, it just kind of cuts out, you know, the middleman of, you know, getting the abortion and then like what's next. You know what I'm saying? So if you're gonna make the decision to get the abortion, it's just best your parents are aware and you guys can, you know, work through that together. And in addition to this, most states, just because you notify your parent doesn't mean you necessarily have to approve of it. In 34 states, 34 states out of the 50, they just have to be notified that you're going to do it, but not necessarily, you know, they don't really have a decision, you know, on whether or not you can do it or not.